Greetings, 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 greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome, 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 welcome to the night shift. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been on this medium, but here it is. I am visiting once again. Hi, Facebook Live. How are you? Yeah, the site is down. The server has some issues and the site is down. So Facebook Live, I'm here. Hello. I'm sharing with you guys because you can't come over to where you can see, and I like the interaction. It's always good to have the interaction. So good evening to you. Welcome to the night shift to DJ Kevin Stewart's Real Talk Wednesday. Happy hump day to you. We're gonna get into it, really into it, in just a few moments. But we got to kick it off sort of like this. This is Aaron Duncan. A track called Better Days.
Nobody say, hey, this would have been, this would have been easy. Oh, on your way, hey, you might come across some troubles on your journey. Hey, I know that it could get rough sometimes, and it does get tough sometimes. But don't go sit down, you know, like your problem. That's how you up and smile. You better get off my child, 'cause royalty running in your veins, and I know it.
Thank you very much, Melody. Hashtag happy to have you around. Thank you for tuning in. Hey Jackie, Kojo, greetings man. I want to thank you each and everyone for logging in for Inviting someone to join in. Sim Simmer. How are things going down? How are things going on down there in Jamaica? Joanna Marie. Good evening to you. I want to thank Pulse Media Group for sponsoring this segment. When being in the moment is priceless, you want to give them a call. When you call them, call my name. Tell them you heard about them right here on the night shift to DJ Kevin Steele. What number you must use? Call them 754 999 6020. 754 999 6020. Yeah, so there are some better days that are coming, and some would say the better days are behind us. It's up for debate. What you say is really what matters, and I'd love to hear what you say. Tonight we're talking about freedom, and with today being the anniversary, the 100th anniversary of the birth of the face of freedom as we know it, the birth of Nelson Mandela. He would have been 100 years old today. But this man went through it all, and we've seen the movie, we've read the books, we've read the news articles, we've heard the stories. But have we really asked the question, what is freedom? Alright. By way of definition, generally, as according to Wikipedia, freedom is having an ability to act or change without constraint. A thing is free if it can change its state easily and is not constrained in its present state. In philosophy and religion, it is associated with having free will and being without undue or unjust constraint or enslavement, and is an idea closely related to the concept of liberty. Remember a few weeks ago, let's see, 14 days ago, 2 weeks ago to be exact, I talked about independence. Now we're talking about freedom. And sometimes the two are used interchangeably, but not quite. So here it is. The word liberty comes up in this. A person has the freedom to do things that will not, in theory or in practice, be prevented by other forces. Outside of the human realm, freedom generally does not have this political or psychological dimension. A rusty lock might be oiled so that the key has freedom to turn. Undergrowth may be hacked away to give a newly planted sapling freedom to grow. Or a mathematician may study an equation having many degrees of freedom. And in mechanical engineering, freedom describes a number of independent motions that are allowed to a body or system, which is generally referred to as degrees of freedom. Now, there's also free will, and that is in the context of free will and self-determination balanced by moral responsibility. And advocates of free will regard freedom of thought as innate to humankind. while opponents regard the mind as thinking only thoughts that a purely deterministic brain happens to be engaged in at the time. So, facets to it. And of course, it would be nice to hear from you guys in the chat. And if you so choose, you can call in 754 lie. That's somebody else's number. 773-789 Stu. You can call, you can chat with me on the show tonight. We're talking about freedom. What is freedom? So let's chit chat. I don't bite, and if I do, it's nothing you need a tetanus shot for. But let's talk freedom. Let's talk about this thing. And I like to take things from, of course, a psychological perspective. Not because I'm a psychiatrist, but because it is important to know how the professionals, the ones who study the mind, really view this thing that we consider to be freedom. Now, we all want freedom, but we are not always so sure about what it is or how to attain it. Yeah, we have an idea, but what is it really? If freedom were merely a matter of not being in a prison cell, then the vast majority of us should be free, right? Seem normal, seem logical. But we often find ourselves imprisoned by internal anxieties, worries, habits, compulsations. Did I say compulsations? Compulsions. Fears, depression. I was about to say compensations. Two minds. Addictions, false assumptions. Ooh, the list goes on. Nina, blessings. Equally, you could imprison someone like Socrates or Boethius, Thomas More, Mahatma Gandhi, or Nelson Mandela, and they would in many ways be freer than their goalers. Now, I want you to let go of the concept of freedom as you know it for a moment. And think of what else freedom could be. Because if we go wholly and solely by the concept that, alright, here it is, I am not imprisoned, so I'm free. But yet still, there are certain parameters like time that you have to do certain things by. In my mind, you are bound by this constraint. So, a little bit of not being free there, maybe. Apache Sounds, big ups to you, sir. Now, like I was saying, true freedom is primarily a state of mind, not a physical condition. Therefore, the study of the mind is central to an inquiry into freedom. So, anybody who has studied the mind, I need your help, especially with tonight's show. Hey, Loris, how are you? Philosophers and theologians have had a lot to say about the nature of freedom and the mind over the millennia. But the discipline of psychology, as we know it, is still relatively new. Psychology, simply put, is the study of the mind. Cool. We're aware of that. We know that. And in order to study and understand the mind, we need to observe it. We see how it works by watching what it does. No, it's not like you can really see the mind, but you see how people act. And typically, they act or react as to how they think. Well, that's what I believe anyway. If I am wrong, please let me know. The essential factor in observing self, the consciousness, which is doing the watching. If we ignore the observing self, as psychology has largely done until recently, then we may have been looking at the mind from the wrong perspective. It's like trying to understand it by thinking about it rather than observing it. So, what do a few notable psychologists say about freedom? And that is what we're going to be touching on tonight. So, let's see what you say freedom is, and let's see how it ties in to what some of these psychologists have to say about what freedom is. William James, who was around back in the 1840s to the early 1900s. Hey Mauricio, how are you, bro? How's Portugal treating you? William James, an American physician, psychologist, and philosopher, whose influential work, The Principles of Psychology, is a foundation for modern psychology. The three key frames of James's work related to attention, determinism, and spirituality. In relation to attention, what he did was identified its importance. Long before the modern interest in contemplative neuroscience as a prerequisite for understanding oneself and leading a healthy life, James's attitude to determinism was what he called soft determinism. And it was abhorring the later, limited, and the fatalistic thinking, which subsequently became widespread. What he believed was we have the scope to freely choose our actions, our attitudes, and our way of being in the world. And there may be strong biological and environmental influences on our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors beyond our control, but it didn't define us. To him, the ultimate freedom tied with spirituality. So you connected on a spiritual sense, or in a spiritual sense, to your environment or to your relatives, and if you had that understanding, then you could attain true freedom, as according to William James. Now, the ultimate freedom is knowing God, or the highest being that you recognize, and selflessly following the will of that being. So, whomever or whatever you see as the ultimate being, then you follow that selflessly. You know it intimately, and with that, you attain ultimate freedom. And that was what William James said in his time between 1842 and 1910. Coming along in that time A little bit later was Sigmund Freud. Now, everybody is familiar with Freud. And his popularization of psychoanalysis provided, see, Melody saying freedom is God. But are you freely believing that? Does that make an individual free? Or does an individual have the freedom to believe that? Going back to Freud, his popularization of psychoanalysis provided our image of the archetypical psychiatrist. He took a gloomy, misanthropic view of humanity, perhaps because he formed his theories almost exclusively from a relatively small number of desperately miserable and neurotic people. His influential focus on psychopathology may be the chief reason why, for the following century, now he was around up until 1939. So, for the following century, psychology almost exclusively focused on abnormality and mental illness rather than positive psychology and well-being, which is probably why people have this concept of, or this thought, that if you're going to see a psychologist, that there's something wrong with you. No. How about seeing a psychologist because there's something right with you? It's like people thought at one point that the only time you go to a doctor is when you're sick, or you only go to a dentist when you have a toothache. But more and more people are recognizing the importance of maintenance. It works for other parts of the body too. It works for the mind. So I encourage everyone to, if not regularly, occasionally see a psychologist or go talk with someone who is versed in the psyche. Because you don't have to be mentally ill to be seen by a mental doctor. I'm just saying. Alright, so here it is. A lot of people focused on the abnormal and the mentally ill part. Freud never aimed high as far as therapeutic outcomes were concerned, and was openly hostile to religion and dismissive of religious experience. He was a hard determinist of the view that our actions and decisions are essentially predetermined by our biology. It also had something to do with our upbringing and unconscious processes. And because we're unaware of them, we don't get to choose them, nor are they under our control. Now, in this view, free will is an illusion. So you think that you're free, but you're not. That's according to Freud. And hey, let's face it. You mention psychology or psychiatry, and people automatically think Sigmund Freud. Automatically. But there were others. 28 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a quick little break. This is where you drag some more people into the show, and we keep the conversation going. Because I love conversations. I love interactions. Here we go. Is it truly possible to follow a higher being selflessly? If we seek freedom in following God, doesn't that itself imply selfishness? There you go. That's another perspective of it. You see, here's what I believe about things that we do in life. It's like a coin. And unless it's a trick coin, you're going to have a head and a tail. You're going to have an upside and a downside. And you will not have one without the other. So, you mentioned being selfless and you end up being selfish. There was a show that I did about why people do things. And we talked about that. Or why people were kind, I think it was. And recognize that some people do things, acts of kindness, because they're selfish. They're looking for that personal gratification. Not that there's something wrong with it. Getting that personal sense of doing something good. Not that something is wrong with that. But it's selfish. And we're led to believe, we're taught to believe that being selfish is not a good thing. So, what do? You just leave it be? And continue being selfish? Or do you start being selfless without being selfish? Apache says it comes down to your personal relationship with God. Emphasis on personal. We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more. We're going to see what Carl Jung had to say about freedom. He was a Swiss psychologist. So we're going to see what he had to say about what freedom is. We'll be right back after these few messages.
Pulse Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulse Media Group.
Are you crazy about the music industry? You aspire to hit it big in music? Or maybe you've sweated out a soulful killer beat and are now stuck finding it's not as easy as it looked. Oh, but it can be easy for you with JTMC. We've been there. We know how it feels. So we solve challenges like production, promotion, marketing, branding and development, and more. With over 30 years of experience, JTMC is a one-stop shop for artists. We handle your graphic design, writing services, PR, as well as event planning, e-blasts, artist management, and bookings, so also your website and social media needs as well. We're experts in using creativity to persuade audiences on behalf of artists, drawing on our diverse experience to create projects that connect with audiences intellectually and emotionally. Artist success is everything to us, and our years of experience and commitment will be behind you for every one of your needs. If you've got music for the world to hear, whether you're a new or established artist, visit us at jtmcenterprise.com.
For the very first time in South Florida, Irie Pen Productions invites you to come and celebrate the birthday of international recording artist Hopeton the Pen Lindo. It will be an all-white birthday celebration on Saturday, July 21st at the Gardens nightclub. Performing live, Hopeton Lindo, Everton Blender, Anthony Malvo, and surprise special guest artist. Get ready to dance the night away when top selectors King Waggy T and C-Roy the Entertainer turns up the party, spinning the hottest tunes. That's Saturday, July 21st, Hopeton Linda's all-white birthday celebration in the Gardens, 4340 North State Road 7 in Lauderdale Lakes. Pre-sold tickets available for only $15 at VP Records, Sound Twisting and Groceries, Rainbow Variety Store, and eventsrusonline.com. Ladies free before 11 p.m.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com, your links to worship and praise.
Yes. Akar Mantino, I'm making notes right now. You are locked in to DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift.
I want to welcome you back to the show. Track in the background is called African Choice. Sound of the Pen, Hopeton Lindo, celebrating his Earth date tomorrow. And really celebrating it Saturday night in the garden. I'll be there, will you?
You're an African joy. You're an African joy. Love me, woman.
Yeah, you can hear the age in this track, right?
I don't hope you African woman. I don't hope you African woman.
Yeah, Hopeton Lindo from back in the day. It's called African Choice. Alright, so, and Hopeton, if you missed it, Hopeton was the guest on my show on Monday. So if you missed it, well, if the site was up, I could just send you to the archive and you could get it there. Fortunately, it is also on my YouTube channel. So if you look for the Night Shift to DJ Kevin Stew on YouTube, you'll see some shows loaded up in there. And the most recent of those shows would be last night's Healthy Love. No, not true. That's not there. It would be Monday night's Community show, Community and Finance. And Hopeton was a featured guest on that show. So, some unknown, now known stories were shared on that show. So you want to go check that out if you missed it, okay? Alright, cool. So tonight we're talking about freedom. If you're just tuning in, I want to thank GMAC Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment of the show. And GMAC Music Solution will bring your music to life for your live events, your stage production services. You want musical equipment, PA systems, DJs, musicians, singers, engineers, you name it. GMAC Music Solutions can hook you up. So you have GMAC providing the equipment and some of the personnel, and you have Policy Media Group being able to stream that event. You see how things come together? Those of you who don't know, you need to ask somebody. So GMAC Music Solutions is a sponsor for this segment of the show, and you can give them a call, 754-307-GMAC. That's 754-307-4622. Alright. What is freedom? And that is for those of you who are just tuning in. Hey, cuz, how are you? Yeah, I know, I haven't been on Facebook Live in a minute, and there's a reason for that, and the reason just happens to be down tonight. So here I am. Erica, thank you for passing through. It's been a minute. I know I only see you when I do a Facebook Live, but it's okay. You're still loved, and I hope I am too. Big ups to you, Erica. We're talking about freedom tonight. What is freedom? And we're looking at what some of the most noted psychologists and psychiatrists of our time have said. Well, psychologists really have said about what freedom is. Carl Jung lived from 1875 to 1961, so it's more recent. He was a Swiss psychologist who was originally a close associate of Sigmund Freud, but went in a different direction as it related to his views on the unconscious. And as a result, it also affected how he viewed religion and free will. He was a deeply spiritual man. Notice, they didn't say he was a deeply religious man. They said he was a deeply spiritual man. It's a little bit different. And in part, he was inspired by his familiarity with the world's great mythologies and wisdom traditions, but also because of his deeply introspective and contemplative learnings. To Jung, we are all connected not just by our physical proximity to each other, but also through a collective unconscious. This is like a universal mind, which, for the most part, we hardly know exists as we go about our distracted day-to-day existence. This is when you get into the esoterics. The personal transformation from an isolated individual to a free, universal, enlightened being, Jung likens it to a kind of spiritual alchemy. Hence, self-reflection was something that Jung wholeheartedly embraced, but Freud vigorously avoided. Again, you yin and you yang, you pull and you push. For Jung, personal growth was about awakening to self-knowledge and self-awareness. Jung believed in free will and viewed hard determinism as merely a mode of thought. If we don't connect with the core of our being and realize that it is continuous with universal being, then we will be ruled by instinct, cause and effect, as described by Freud. Now, this stamps Jung as being quite distinct from Freud and the nihilism associated with many proponents of existentialism. So, you're not religious, you're extremely spiritual. Right. And I remember seeing a bumper sticker. Yeah, it was a bumper sticker that said, "Religious people scare me. Spiritual people I'm cool with." And it makes sense, because the people who are religious fanatics are the ones who will strap a bomb to their bodies, run down the street, and do something crazy. Not to say that they all do that, but they're the ones who will do it. Someone who is more on a spiritual level views things differently. And if you check the people of our times, the more docile of them seem to be more spiritual than religious. Maybe I need to do a show on, or have I done one? I don't remember now. On spirituality versus religion. I don't think I've done one of those. I'm gonna do a show on that. So listen out for it. Now, Boris Friedrich, ever heard of him? Or B.F. Skinner, lived from 1904 to 1990. So it wasn't very long ago that he was around. Thank you, Melody. Thank you for the endorsement. Hey, Jen, welcome to the show. Did I see Melissa in here earlier? Did I see Lady Song in passing through in here earlier? I thought I saw her. If you're still around, sis, hey, how you doing? Alright, so Skinner, or Boris Friedrich, was an American psychologist. And don't let the name throw you. He was an American psychologist largely responsible for popularizing behaviorism. Oh, yeah, she did pass through. She's off hanging with Willie, I think, Willie Stewart. So, Skinner was an American psychologist, largely responsible for popularizing behaviorism and the experimental approach to understanding human behavior. Laboratory-based experiments are useful, but they are inherently artificial and limited by the things you can or choose to measure and control. Skinner's view of behaviorism is strongly deterministic. He saw free will, emotion, and motivation as illusory covers for the real causes of human behavior. So apparently, it's all an illusion. It's your mind playing tricks on you. Hence, Skinner's view was that you could condition or train human beings like animals to think or do what you want. Now, that's not so far off. Gio, big up yourself, bro. STGC. A lot of people won't understand that. But he believed you could condition people to act like animals. You can reinforce some behaviors and punish others, thus conditioning the brain and biology to be the way it is. Hey, Jackie. Empress Jackie. The person who commits a crime has no real choice because they are propelled to do it by environmental circumstances and personal history, making breaking the law for some people natural and inevitable. For others, being law-abiding is just as natural because of their environment and upbringing. Basically, if you grow up on the wrong side of the tracks, then you're predestined to end up behind bars. Basically, is what he was saying. Reggae music entertainer extraordinaire Marlon Burrell, big up, sir. Welcome, brother. So, and we all know that that's not quite the case. But I guess he had a strong enough argument to put that theory up. So, environment clearly has significant influence on us, and the sciences of neuroplasticity and epigenetics give us further credence to that view. But there is a but. There is a risk in taking one factor to be all that there is. We don't live in controlled environments. That concept is something that would work in a controlled environment, and it probably would only work to a point. Of course, that's just my opinion because I'm no psychologist. What works against us can also work for us. Hence, you push and you pull. Pulley systems, that's how they work. Although environment and conditioning do play a role in determining our makeup and behavior, we're not inevitably prisoners of them because we can choose environments and behaviors to change the way our brains and genes express themselves. So as the environment changes, so does other things. So that same people from across the tracks. Thank you, Jen. I'll take you as long as I can have you. Yeah, I'll leave that one alone. It is Wednesday night. But I'll leave that one alone. Hey Gavin, welcome, bro. So the people who lived on the other side of the tracks, the side that you only go in the daytime because at night strange things happen. Let's say you put a new residence or type of residence smack in the middle of that community, and you bring some people over from the better side of the tracks, quote unquote better, then and you bring in opportunities. The not so great side of the tracks now starts looking like the better side of the tracks, and as a result things should change. There should be less need to worry. So those people who were considered to be predestined to end up in prison, now that changes. So the environment can change, and as a result, the behaviors. But moving on, 6 minutes to the top of the hour. Viktor Frankl. Now, Frankl lived from 1905 to 1997, and he was an Austrian physicist, psychiatrist. Frankl. Yeah, he was a psychiatrist. All right. So he believed that we were deeply influenced by real life experiences. And he himself was influenced by experiences in Nazi concentration camps. Now, based on what I know about Nazi concentration camps, that would definitely influence my thinking too. G. Cole, big ups to you, sir. Host of Homegrown with G. Cole. Listen, if you've never caught his show, you look for Gregory Cole. He's a friend of mine on Facebook, so all of you who are tuned in on Facebook and you see him popping just now, just link him. Connect with him. Homegrown with G. Cole is an awesome, awesome show. Just letting you know, if you didn't know before. Alright. So, Frankl had little or no control over his external circumstances. But what this did was it drove him to discover a deep sense of self-reliance. It also promoted insight and meaning, which profoundly changed the way he experienced his ordeal. It was not that the conditions of the camp changed, but that he found freedom from the misery by transcending it, by finding meaning within it, and by embracing the opposite to the hatred and bitterness which we have been expected. Freedom to Frankl was not an external thing, but an internal one, based on choosing the attitude to any event. So now it's a matter of choice, and hence where if you have the freedom of choice, then you're truly free. So he put this to life. He gave life to this concept. He lived it. This is radically non-determinist. When he was asked to comment on Skinner's view, Frankl said, "Man does not cease to be an animal, but at the same time, he is definitely more than an animal. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing: the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." And that's like phenomenal. When you recognize that they can take everything away from you, but the way you choose to see the situation you're in when they do that, that's a different level. And one can only imagine where you have to be within yourself to get to that point where you redefine what people consider to be freedom. An important part of the ability to choose and transcend is objective awareness, which Frankl likens to a space between stimulus and response, strongly echoing the emphasis on awareness previously exhorted by various wisdom traditions and later exhorted in mindfulness really. based approaches, but I would say mindless approaches, because if we're going to base it on what someone else predetermined it to be, then we didn't stop to think about it, did we? Yeah, I know somebody's going, huh? But the complexity is in the simplicity. Listen, think about the situation you're in right now. Think about where you are and what you're doing. Are you freely doing it? Or is it being done as a result of something else contributing to the situation that is driving you towards it? Fletcher, big ups, bro. See ya. How you been? How's the little one? We need to link, see ya. We need to link. It's a minute to the top of the hour. Gonna take a quick little break. Thanks to GMAC Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we talk a little bit more, and then we will get into our musical therapy a little bit later on. But when we come back, we're gonna look at what Martin Seligman, who is yet again another American psychologist, and he's very much around right now. Greetings, Hubert. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. And we're gonna see what Martin has to say about it. Yeah, we definitely need the links here, because I really haven't met the first one yet. So with the second one on the way, yeah, we got to sit down and chat, knock back a few, and you know, bring each other up to date. Alright, so gotta take a quick little break. When we come back, we talk some more. It's a night shift with me, DJ Kevin Stew. It's Real Talk Wednesday. Yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought just now. Real Talk Wednesday. We're talking about what is freedom. Yeah, I'm free to lose my train of thought every now and then. I'm free to do it. Don't knock me. Don't judge me. We'll be right back.
JTMC Music presents the highly anticipated, much talked about, The Juggling Rhythm Volume 1. This classic rhythm takes on a new life with tracks from both established artists and introduces some incredible new voices. Get your dancing shoes ready with The Juggling Rhythm, featuring international reggae dancehall artist Mr. Vegas, alongside Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson, Jack Radix, Hezron, Dangling, Joanna Marie featuring Galaxy P, Denny Rants featuring Jawiz, Amberleek, Christine Alicia, Yishka. Also the new sensations on the rhythm: Zeal, Danger Lee, Marquis Skelenar, Zachary. Available on all digital media outlets. The Juggling Rhythm. Get it, get it, get it.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me. We are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Pen Productions invites you to come and celebrate the birthday of international recording artist Hopeton the Pen Lindo. It will be an all-white birthday celebration on Saturday, July 21st at the Gardens nightclub. Performing live, Hopeton Lindo, Everton Blender, Anthony Malvo, and surprise guest artist. Get ready to dance the night away when top selectors King Waggy T and C-Roy the Entertainer turns up the party. Pre-sold tickets for $15 available at VP Records, Sam's West Indian Groceries, Rainbow Variety Store, and eventsrusonline.com.
It's time to get live, it's time to get lit. Spiritually powered inspirational thoughts. It's time to spit. Join Sharon Corinthian and St. Patrick every Tuesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 96.3 IMG Radio, as they bring you poetry at its finest. featuring some of the hottest spoken word artists from around the world. It will leave you touched, moved, and inspired. Tell a friend to tell a friend and join us for the show.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
Hey, I'm representing for DJ Kevin Stew, working on the night shift radio show. Won't go changing like the weather, just to please the devil never. Will DJ Kevin Stew sell his soul? That's a word and honor. It's Christine representing word and honor. Selassie DJ Kevin Stew.
This is Joanna Marie, and it's all about DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift. You feel for some stew? Check out Kevin Stew.
I want to welcome you guys back to the show. Hey Laverne, how you doing? The son of Brandon Tony Gold. A track called Can You. Hey Gio, if you're still watching, I want to thank you for this disclaimer that I'm using on this, yeah?
She asked again, can you
I'm here, Sharon, doing this thing with some level of freedom.
So obsessed was I with the trivial things I wanted. My very liberty I taken for granted. But when I heard from my friend down yonder, I had to stop and wonder. Her words came back to haunt me when she asked, can you swim on any beach you want to? Can you stay out late at night when you want to? Are there no signs around? We want no blacks in town. You must be.
Once again, numbers to call, numbers to text to get you in touch. 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. Still have time to call a friend and share to a friend and drag a friend on over to tune in and participate. Listen, the number I gave out, you can call it, you can text it, you can when you call, you'll be on the show live, and if you want to be anonymous, you'll be anonymous. No big deal. If you feel that some of the statements you want to make, you can't really put it in the exchange here on Facebook, that's fine. Go ahead and call me or go ahead and text me. And if you don't want your name, just say don't mention my name. Simple. Alright, cool. So we're talking about freedom and we're looking at what freedom is, with today being Nelson Mandela's would have been his 100th Earth date, and here it is. We're looking at what freedom is and the various concepts of freedom as proposed by famous psychologists throughout time. Well, time of psychology as we know it, from the 1800s to now. Now, Martin Seligman, an American psychologist, and very active in redirecting modern psychology's fascination with psychopathology and encouraging it to explore the realm of positive psychology. His early animal research is what led him to discover what he called learned helplessness. Now, I first heard the term learned helplessness last week, and it was in a discussion I was having with a psychologist. So his animal research led him to discover learned helplessness, which arises when you consistently create painful situations from which the animal cannot escape. What happens is soon it stops trying to escape, even when the potential for escape is reintroduced. Seligman drew parallels with people living with depression, who, being unable to escape the thoughts and feelings they did not want to experience, they learned a kind of helplessness and resignation. Rather than just mitigating the symptoms of psychological distress or masking them with drugs, Seligman wanted to use the positive resources a person had within themselves, such as character, strengths, and virtues. The conclusions he and co-researchers came to echoed what many wisdom traditions exhorted for millennia. Positive psychology is, in part, deterministic, in that happiness is in part determined by genetics and environment, but it also acknowledges the importance of free will. In order for it is within our ability to choose what characteristics and resources we cultivate. Pessimism leads in one direction and optimism another. Seligman's views on choosing the beliefs we focus on in times of adversity strongly aligns with Frankel's. People whose disposition to happiness is primarily this is a really interesting word. It is eudaimonic. Now, it's eudaimonic. I've never come across this word in my life. Basically, happiness as meaning. So, people whose disposition to happiness is primarily eudaimonic. Yeah, tongue twister. They tend to be far happier and more resilient to stress and disappointment. So, and I can call out Melody in this one because she got on with a group that she came across called 100 Days of Happy. And their idea was to, over the course of 100 days, state something that you're happy about. And after those 100 days, it would become so much a part of you that you would not be able to resist doing it. Call it conditioning if you want. Call it a lifestyle change. Eudaimonic. It is EUDAIMONIC. 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 100 happy days. Yes, Melody. It is happiness as meaning. Not has, but as. Now, the learned helplessness that we mentioned earlier with Seligman, it was introduced to me with a story of a study being done with a dog. And the dog was in a cage. And what they did was they would play a tone, and whenever you heard that tone, they would electrify the floor of the cage, and the dog would go crazy. Your spell check won't allow that word? Don't worry, my tongue won't allow it either. And the more I look at it, the more I want to say it. Eudaimonic. Alright. So the sound would go off, the floor would get electrified, the dog would jump and go crazy. They turn it off, the dog settles down. And they would keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And what happened is the dog realized after a while that, listen, it really doesn't matter if when the sound goes off that I'm going to be jumping up and down because I'm going to feel it anyway. So what had happened is they turned on the sound, the dog would just lay there and just take it because there's nothing that he could do. Then they said, okay, let's make half the cage electrified and the other half not. Let's see if the dog will go ahead and go to the side where they'll be safe, that they won't feel the effects of the electricity. And they did it in such a way that the dog is laying there, part of the dog is on the side that isn't electrified. And they turned, the sound came on, they turned it on, and the dog didn't move. Because now here it is, there's a note. But the dog had already gone through the pain so many times. It's kind of like they've become immune to it. And that is what Seligman was talking about when he mentioned learned helplessness. And in given the situation of the distress, there are people that you would wonder why it is that they live in the community that they live in after things have changed for them. So let's say they lived in a state or in a community where things were really bad. The infrastructure was poor. The lights would go off randomly. Water would get turned off randomly. Things that just okay. That's even another way to look at it. Melody says that happens in abusive relationships also. And you're right. You get the beating. You know the beating is coming. So you don't even fight back anymore. You just take the beating. And that beating doesn't necessarily have to be a physical beating. It could be an emotional beating. It could be a psychological beating. But the abuse comes. And you know it's coming. So you just decide, you know what? There's nothing I can do about it. It's going to come anyway. So you just lay there and take it. Figuratively speaking, lay there. Learned helplessness. So now you have to learn how to not be helpless. And where I guess that comes from having a sense of determination and to not be helpless. But if you've gone through it so much and decide that it's whatever now, someone is going to have to teach you how to make it not whatever. And you have to be willing to learn that. And at that point, you reclaim your freedom, or that aspect of it. Because that's what people do when they're persecuted, right? They recognize that that is where they are at, and they just accept it. John Kabat-Zinn was born in 1944. He's still around today. And he is a molecular biologist. So, a little bit of a twist. Not a psychologist. Molecular biologist. But through his long-standing position and passion for teaching and researching mindfulness, he has had a profound effect on the modern understanding and practice of psychology. He developed a deep interest in Buddhism and mindfulness meditation and took what he learned into the community. Kabat-Zinn's work attracted significant attention from a group of prominent psychologists and researchers: John Teasdale, Zindel Siegel, and Mark Williams, who were looking for new strategies to help with the escalating rates of chronic relapsing depression. They developed mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, not to be confused with mindless cognitive therapy. And they found extremely promising results, and which have been consistently confirmed in many studies since then. Mindfulness-based approaches are revolutionizing psychotherapy, with the first and most central point of being the cultivation of awareness. Without awareness, we are essentially an automation. Without understanding and with no conscious will of our own. A state called automatic pilot. And in such a state, the hard determinism of Freud and Skinner might be a fair description of the human condition. Now, it would be hard to argue against that. Dissatisfaction, regret, addiction, and fear essentially come from ignoring the present and living in the imaginary future or relived past. In our restless, unmindful search for happiness, we constantly look for things outside ourselves. We find what is impermanence and constantly missing the bedrock of our being to become a prisoner of the mind and its contents. We tend to identify ourselves with passing thoughts and feelings and take them as facts. So, yeah, this may have happened. I feel like this could be, and that becomes the reality. Not a really great way to live. However, so we take these thoughts and feelings and live them as facts. Liberation from suffering and distress, therefore, lies in our ability to rest in simple, non-judgmental, and compassionate awareness, and not to be so moved by transient mental or sensory experiences. If we cultivate awareness and non-attachment to the mind and its contents, then we have the opportunity to live more fully and authentically without the same level of hindrance from our moods, compulsions, desires, and addictions. Developing things like self-awareness, self-actualization, non-attachment, and acknowledging a deeper observing self. These are ways to avoid or to extricate ourselves from the mental traps we are unwittingly finding ourselves in. Basically, we do not have to be trapped by the mind. If we train and use our minds well, it resembles a faithful servant rather than a tyrannical master. So you won't end up being a slave to your mind. However, being in that position requires some wisdom, patience, perseverance, careful guidance, courage, and more than a little self-compassion. Yeah, Hubert, that word. Yes, it's eudaimonic. Eudaimonic. And it is happiness, being in a state of happiness as meaning. And I think somehow, some way, Melody had stumbled onto that, and it has, even if she doesn't want it, that is her. For those of you who know Melody or you have seen her, so you gotta break it down like that, Herbert. Seriously, let me tell you something. This is why I have a segment that I just play music. Because this is where it becomes my therapy. This is where it becomes my fix. And it changes everything, and it settles my mind for the rest of the evening. So you all can do whatever you want to do with EUDAIMONIC. I know that I am going to play this one commercial, and then we're going to come back and go into our musical therapy. That is what I know. So we'll be right back after this.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
Silence no work no more. Where are the leaders that guided us before? Yo, this is Christina. Listen, I want to big up DJ Kevin Stew. Yo, always playing the best. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you always stay current with DJ Kevin Stew. Enough love. Freedom fighters. Where are the freedom fighters?
Word. Soul. We are the change people.
Silence no word no more. Where are the leaders that guided us before? Who is going to open the door? Without them it seems like our future is not.
Thank you very much, Hubert.
Oh, wins when good men sit still. Action is what we need, yeah. Rise up again, freedom fighters. Where are the freedom fighters?
This is the sound of Christina Alicia. A track called Freedom Fighters.
Where are all our heroes? Where are you, freedom fighters? Where have you gone? Youth get led astray by the teachings of today. Can't find a way, Malcolm X teaching gone to waste. That's the price we pay when we island every day. We need to set a better way for the youth. Wisdom is knowledge and knowledge is true wealth. Start help the youth and stop thinking about yourself. Evil wins when the righteous stand still. Action is what we need. Rise, freedom fighters. Where are the freedom fighters? Moral leaders. Where have you all gone? Moral heroes. Where are all our heroes? Where are you, freedom fighters? Where have you all gone? Silence no word no more. Where are the leaders that guided us before? Who is going to open the door? Without them it seems like our future is not secure. Evil wins when good men sit still. Action is what we need. Rise up again. Freedom fighters. Where are the freedom fighters? Moral leaders. Where have you all gone? Some heroes. Where are all our heroes? Freedom fighters.
I played a song last night. And it was requested that I play it again tonight. And I can only, to the best of my abilities, meet the needs of those who are requesting. This is the sound of Sugar. The track is called Impossible.
If caterpillars can turn into butterflies, then you can find your own wings to fly. Rivers can flow into oceans, winter to spring and summer into autumn. Then it's up to you.
As we get into our musical therapy segment, this is brought to you by the Wake Up and Live show. And Sir Rockwell kicks it off in the morning, 7 a.m. And with tomorrow being Thursday, all being well, the drive-by happens. Now, tomorrow may be a little bit different with the time of the drive-by. So I suggest that you just tune in. This is Sugar, it's called Impossible. We're going to take it once more from the tippy top up.
Kevin,
Caterpillars can turn into butterflies, then you can find your own wings to fly. Rivers can flow into oceans, winter to spring and summer into autumn. Then it's up to you and I to believe there's no mountain that's too high. We can get there if we try. There is no doubt in my mind. I can see the invisible, feel the intangible. Reach the unreachable, find the untraceable, achieve the impossible, yeah. There is no doubt in my mind. Alright, the best way to sharpen your tools are to use them. A quitter can't win no race, them only lose them. Perseverance is key. No make nobody tell you say you can't break free. Tell them say your seed never plant yourself. Your roots them a travel, you will pass yourself. All if you stumble, them can't drop you. There is only courage, no doubt. I can see the invisible, feel the intangible, achieve the impossible. Yeah, there is no.
You're very welcome, Mel.
I can reach the unreachable, find the untraceable, achieve the impossible. Yeah, there is no doubt in my mind. Hey, you can do it if you try. You can climb mountains high.
Can't find food to put a
This is Zamunda. It's called Victory.
It's a rocky road, a long journey. The struggles and the stress inspires greatness, and I see I know I am blessed. I could have break some legs of the journey, but still I believe me never try go wrong. Me think give first to the King, no He has blessed me with everything. I said the heart and the back and the sweet and the victory. So I roll like a roll with the river to the mighty sea. Yeah. Me say me nah give up, can't give up. Victory is mine. Heart and the back and the sweet and the victory. Yeah. And mama say if you no rough, you no sweet. So go on, go do it, I ask them no defeat. I have to step in the street and make two ends meet. So the mission of it get complete. Circumstances makes me who I am, but all I know, I was born to overcome. I said the odds are the mark of the sweet and the victory, yeah. Sweet and the victory. So I rode and rode in the river to the mighty sea, yeah. Me say me nah give up, can't give up.
Best believe it's when we have gone through the midst of it and the depths of it that we recognize when we come out of it that we were greater than it.
So many rivers have crossed the restore my life, so me never get lost on this life journey. I know I'm worthy.
So as we claim our victories, we have to recognize that, as Jericho says, we have to keep our heads high.
Yes, you are free to be who you wanna be, free to see places you wanna see. Yeah, free to be who you wanna be. Remember Marcus Garvey said reliance on the key. In a Babylon you need money making ability. You see, bust up your skills with no apology, and for that we have to tell them clearly. If you're seeking progress, stay focused and burn laziness while you're in the process, aiming for success. To every opportunity say yes. So we tell them this: every ghetto you must wear a crown. Don't let nobody bring you down, down. In a concrete jungle you have to be firm like a lion. Stay away from the sinking sand. You could do what you wanna do, be who you wanna be. All you gotta do is try. Keep your head high, so high. Limit is the sky, I. One day you have been boss, would ya bless no man cause all you gotta do is try. Keep your head high, so high. The limit is the sky, I. You can do anything that you want. Don't let nobody say that you can't. No for them a criticize, no for them a taunt. But listen to the words what the Rasta man a chant. If you believe in yourself, that make you stronger. Wake up, rise up from this slumber. Hit a rocky road over yonder. Keep working hard, no time for wonder. You can do what you wanna do, be who you wanna be. All you gotta do is try. Keep your head high, so high. Limit is the sky, I. One day you have been boss, we just bless no man goes. All you gotta do is try. Keep your head high, so high. The limit is the sky, I.
Your faith is enough that can move any mountain. I'm staying with you, staying with you. Our faith is enough that
This is the sound of Perfect Skidibani.
mountain. I'm staying with
It's called Faith.
you, staying with
Before that, we heard from Jericho.
you. Going,
Keep your head high.
baby, without my queen, without my queen.
17 minutes to the top of the hour.
Do I share my problems? You know what I mean. Know what I mean. She never fails to understand. God gave me a beautiful woman. I'm giving thanks for everything. Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh. Our faith is enough that can move any mountain. I'm staying with you, staying with you. Our faith is enough that can move any mountain. I'm staying with you, staying with you. We've been through this 1,000 times before. I say I don't love you, you say you don't love me no more. giving thanks for everything. Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh, oh, oh. Our faith is enough that can move any mountain. I'm staying with you, staying with you. Our faith is enough that can move any mountain. I'm staying with you, staying with you. Joy coming, joy coming.
This is Jai Wiz. A track called Hold Up Your Light. 14 minutes to go.
Hold up your light and shine till the morning.
That's right, Mel. Do what you want to do. Be who you want to be. All you got to do is try.
Till the race is run. For we've been named up for the night. But joy cometh in the morning light. I'm talking to the people in America. You've got to shine. Hold up your light and shine till the morning comes. Hold up your light and shine till the race is run. For we've been laying here for night. But joy cometh in the morning light. Yeah. I'm talking to the people down from Jamaica. You've got to shine. I'm talking to the people down in Africa. You've got to shine.
Hey, follow me over and see ya now. Hey, upset her. See how upset her.
True freedom does lie within, Mel. Melody says, freedom is knowing that your circumstances can never hold you hostage because your mind and heart are liberated. See, this is why I have musical therapy. Go through it all. Like Agent Sasko says. Winning. That statement right there, Mel. The winning statement. Mind and heart are liberated, so your circumstances can never hold you hostage. This one here is for you, Mel. Winning right now.
Hey, watch out. Hey, I'm a walking W. Learn from the else. Turn them in a medal in a trophy and bells. Every day you see we with them on our next level. Break records like we cracking eggshells. And every single ounce of effort we expel. It's all about progress, cause we have to excel. I watch out. Looking like success, we dress well. Boom. Another knockout for the ring, the next bell. I'm about to send my haters a card to get well, cause I'm sick of it. Yeah, I'm so sick of it. But that's the whole gist of it. I hate in on the beauty when winning now we have it. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. Oh, we're winning right now, you say we're winning right now. If we get a trophy to what we living right now. Cause I'm winning right now, yeah. And I'm chilling right now. Oh, we're winning right now. Our Thanksgiving right now, yeah. I said we're winning right now. So every day you see me, we are the reigning champ. And at the cloud with the silver line, we reigning from. Cause if you see some of the places where we hailing from, it's just the type of place we should be hailing from. And now we're winning. Yes, every quarter, every inning. Multiple tracks and then a fancy for swimming. You know that there's no giving in, no matter the circumstances we living in. You hear me? I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning. Oh, we're winning right now, baby. Say we're winning right now. If we get a trophy to what we living right now, cause I'm winning right now, yeah. I'm not shooting right now. Oh, we're winning right now. I thank you giving right now, God.
And what you mean?
I said we're winning right now.
It is a burden. To I'm on it's a journey. I can't if you're not careful. You gain the world and lose the soul you have. Here is knowledge. The things in the world, but take it off. You never know what you got.
9 minutes to go.
What you got is not a burden. And it's a journey all the time if you're not careful. You gain this world.
Yeah, Kojo. We have to free our minds mentally and spiritually.
I feel as if there is no chance of me, no balance, no gravity. How can I save myself from
This is the sound of Mark Myrie, aka Buju.
motives and quality? Pulling from power, while
Life is a journey.
to conquer fears and calm all anxiety. I see my people suffer every day all around me. Many fell victims where they are lonely. I see this one from my homies, the ones who know me, who grow me, who show me, who jump and surely. Learn my mathematics on the skillful Tony, who also with born street smart and show me English grammar, how to misroll me. Selassie I call me, declare the glory. There is hope for every man surely. There is hope for every man surely. Hey, it's not a burden. No one tell the world it is a job if you're not careful. You gain this world and lose the soul you have. Here is knowledge. Let those in the world but take it off. You never know what you got till you lose what you got. It's not a burden. Oh my friend, it is a job if you're not careful. You gain this world and lose the soul you have. Here is knowledge. Let those in the world but take it off. You never know what you got till you lose what you got. As sure the sun shines, I'm keeping what's mine. The time, the sign, children having babies, demoralizing the ladies, the rise of pagan churches, shades and psychics, white and black magic. All disguised in clever logics shall be tragic. Upon false prophet who rise and lie, and Mother Teresa cry as peacemaker die, and Clinton testify. Reservoirs run dry, the ozone layer die, and we don't know why. Ooh, life is not a burden. Tell them it's a journey. I tried if you're not careful. You gain this world and lose the soul you have. Here is knowledge. Let those in the world want to hear up. You never know what you got till you lose what you got. It's not a burden. No. It is a trial if you're not careful. You gain this world and lose the soul you have. Here is knowledge. Let those in the world want to hear up. You never know what you got till you lose what you got. Wars cannot help us to better ourselves. Inside every man there is a hidden well. Every man wants to be comfortable. No man wants to be disabled. Some too greedy, some too craven, and all them dead that's still not sufficient. Some love war and that no make sense. Envy, big hatred and crime and violence. Listen,
That's why hashtag it's a movement.
really don't take offense. It's not a burden. No, it is a journey. I tell you if you're not careful.
Because we do need to discover our personal freedoms.
Those in the world want to get off. You never know what you got till you lose.
My freedom doesn't look like yours.
No. It is a job if you're not careful. You gain this world and lose the soul you have. There is knowledge. Let those in the
Find
world want to
what
get
it is that to you spells freedom and own it.
How good and how excellent is thy name throughout the earth. Emperor Selassie, conquering lion, Mount Ion. It's a beautiful day.
Sizzla Kalonji,
What do you
Annie Kamosi,
every time I pray
Coco T.
what's inspiration?
The track is called I'm Free.
Some people from all
6 minutes to go.
see how the Royal Highness. In air, the fresh air, the breeze, the blowing, no one disturbing you in the land of love, yes. Show me you care for others up there, protect yourself. I love we had found it. I'm free from all those trouble in the world. My life preserved and I live in Africa. Come and see the land of the love and the living. It's the foundation for your ancestors. I'm free from all those troubles in the world. My life preserved and I live in Africa. Come and see the land of the love and the living. It's the foundation, ancient Ethiopia. For 1,000 years of dirty slavery, no one can pay me. They torture and jail me. And all those years, slave masters take me. They still can't break me, cause I'm prevailing. Distant lands and distant seas, we've all been scattered. No, we're silent. I don't know, strength I know. Voice the John King Selassie, I will also come away. Children turn away from evil, because Jah has surely bless you and give you length of days. Children come away, children turn away from evil. Jah has surely bless us and give us length of days. I'm free from all those troubles in the world. My life preserved and I live in Africa. Come and see the land of the love and the living. It's the foundation from all your ancestors. I'm free from all those troubles in the world. I preserve, I live in. It's a beautiful day, the sun is shining. What do you say? Love every time. I pray for your kindness. What inspiration, just meditation. People from all nations, Il Selassie, the Royal Highness. Inhale the fresh air, the breeze, the blowing. No one disturbing you in the land of love, yes. Show me you care for others out there. Protect yourself, which I love, we had found it. I'm fine.
No, you're the rising. Set the most I have blessed us, so now I have left us, so yes.
3 minutes to the top. 3 minutes before I get out of here. I want to say thank you to each and everyone for sticking around with me this week and supporting and participating. This is the sound of Little Kirk. Can't hold I down. Not at all. Because it's a movement. So on all my posts you see that hashtag it's a movement. But what is the movement towards? That is dependent on you. Claim it. What is your movement? I want to encourage you to look out for members of your community right now and as you move forward. And your community is not just the development that you live in, but all those that you pass along the way, whether you walk, ride, or drive, those that you pass on the bus, on the plane, on the boat, on the train, these are all your neighbors. These people live in your community. So look out for them today, because you never know who's going to look out for you tomorrow. My name is DJ Kevin Stewart. This is how I like to do it, to you, for you, and with you. I'll be back on Monday with Community and Finance, 10 till midnight. All being well, the site will be back up. And I'll be comfortable in my home once again. Again, thanks to the Wake Up and Live show, Sir Rockwell, for sponsoring this segment of the show. Thank you guys for sticking around, for participating in the chat. Appreciate, love you. Hey Sharon, how you doing? Host of SPIT Spit, Spiritually Powered Inspirational Thoughts. Sharon Corinthian. Big ups to you. I should say co-host. Happy Earth Date, the late Nelson Mandela. Wanna know, I'm out of here till next time. Catch you in the drive-by tomorrow, all being well, yeah? The Wake Up and Live show on Rotterbox.net. I'm out of here.
We keep burning them with words, powers and sound. Can't lie down. Well, this is serious business, and now maybe go round. Can't lie down. Yeah. I will lock in clear right path right now, so we're not just a shot by this off the dark. Yeah. In you we are clean hands and a pure in heart. We up it from the start, then blocks again. We are it clean like a whistle devil. Walk away now with a shine and with a blessing there. One of these one of the most I children want thunderball. And the whole of who know me son the sun. Them can't hold I down. Only the most I alone I him a wear the triple crown, yeah. Don't keep I down. We keep burning them with words, powers and sound. Them can't hold I down.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.